Why, hello there, Nice Tail here. I hope this video finds you well. Today I'm bringing you, I don't know what the heck that was. Well, today I'm bringing you a review of this Kansept Caveman. And yeah, this is a pretty solid one. All overall, I'm quite impressed with the quality and everything. It's not necessarily my style. Like, I don't know if I'm going to hold on to it permanently or anything, but it's everything that there is good. So, let's jump into specs. In fact, and so we can get through that and talk about the knife and everything. You have almost 3 5/8 of blade. It's over 3.5, but just kind of a tiny bit under 3 5/8. So you're looking at, I don't know, 3.55 to 3.6 inches of blade. Overall, 8 1/4. Almost 4 3/4 on the handle. Comparisons to our resident comparison knives, as usual. It does have a very flat back end, so it's pretty easy to line up there, I'll give it that much. That's helpful. Civivi Elementum, I always want to say the Conspirator for some reason, but the Conspirator comes up second oftentimes because it is a larger knife. And speaking of larger knife, this is larger than both of them. However, it has very, very similar, just a tiny hair more blade length than the Conspirator. It's mostly in the, well, it's just a little bit in the handle, a little bit in the blade. It's still a full-size knife, but it does feel substantial. Like, it's got some mass to it. And we're going to talk about that, but if you actually look at the overall thickness, while this knife is fully contoured, in fact, you can see it right there, it's not that much thicker. I mean, I probably should hold it up to the camera. It's a little bit thicker, but it's not that much thicker other than the pivots here. But it's got the feeling of mass. I think probably because, I mean, when you hold the handle up to each other, yeah, it's considerably larger, taller, and it just, I don't know. It feels like it's bigger than it is. Which, I mean, honestly, it kind of fits with the name, right? It just, the Caveman, it feels kind of big and brutish for what it is, which the design successfully captures and carries through, which is kind of nice to see. It's kind of cool. But it's still pretty much a full-size knife overall. Weight. I imagine weight is one of the things that's helping it to feel more substantial. It is got some, actually a decent amount of milling in there. You can kind of see it. But it is still pretty heavy. It is got thick titanium scales with reasonably thick blade stock. It's a full titanium frame lock. 5.88 ounces, so you're just under 6 ounces, but it's certainly not an ounce an inch. It is definitely slightly on the heavier, more substantial side. I did notice it in my pocket, so if you're looking for something that's going to like disappear or something like that, this is not it. But it's still pretty manageable to carry if you don't mind slightly larger knives. Let's do hardware check. T8, I know, T8. T8, everything is T8, which is always very much appreciated. Oh, wow, zeroed out right away. That's, oh, Lord, something bad's gonna happen later today. 532,000. So, yeah, you're a little bit over half an inch. That's not really all that thick. Blade stock is 136,000. Also, not really all that substantially thick. I mean, I've had much thicker knives. This thing just has a presence of being big and tough. Behind the edge, it's not the thinnest knife behind the edge. It's not like a super slicer. This is definitely something that's built to be a slightly harder use than your standard light-duty EDC knife, but it still does get down pretty reasonably thin at the edge itself. 15,000s? Really? That's actually surprising me. Yeah, 15,000s. It does get a bit thicker faster, but that's actually not bad. I thought it was going to be a little bit a little bit thicker than that, to be completely honest with you. Why is it not thicker than that? Back at the heel, it's 20,000s. Up here, tapering grind? Well, it would help if I didn't slip down it completely, wouldn't it now? Or slip up the blade completely. Yeah, that's... Okay, so, yeah, it's 15, 16 thousandths, and then it gets a little bit thicker as it goes back, which is interesting. It's not a huge tall grind, so it does get a bit thick faster than you might expect, but, I mean, it pretty much announces that, and it's not actually that bad. I mean, it's got some substance behind it, but it's definitely still within the realm of very usable, yet slightly more heavy-duty kind of sort of knife. Kind of sort of knife, yeah, sure. I believe that is the end of our specs here. Yes, I'm quite certain it is. Alright, so what are we looking at? Blade. You've got a modified sheep's foot here. In 20 CV blade steel, says it right there. Kansept loves putting the name of their knife and the code of their knife on their blade. I don't know why. They do it on everything, though. I don't think it needs to be there. Designer logo, which is a Caveman, and the Kansept logo. That's all you need. If you're gonna brand something, that's all you need. But they do it anyway. It is a tall, sort of robust, as I just was talking about, with a reasonably decent amount of material right behind the tip. It definitely gets thicker right there quickly. But it's still pretty utilitarian. This one's got a nice belt satin on it, which is actually quite nice. It's very like reflective and nice looking. There is a rose Damascus or something like that. It looked cool too, but it was like a pinkish bronze handle, and I don't know, it just didn't come together for me. I think I just like the rock pattern with keeping it simple. It's got jimping, and weirdly enough, the jimping's not as uncomfortable as it looks. Like, it's huge jimping. It looks like it might be unpleasant. It's not terrible. It's not like something I'd really want to grind my finger into without gloves on, but especially right here at the joint between the handle and the blade, yeah, I can push my finger onto that and be okay for a while. And of course, you can get up further. There is a big, large choil on there. Now, finding the actual end of the plunge on this sucker is really a pain in the butt. And I'm still not 100% sure. It's really ill-defined. I think the most of the drop, like the biggest major drop of the plunge, actually hits there, and it just tapers down, because the blade continues to go lower, so it's still dropping down. I think the major part of the drop actually happens there, but it does continue all the way down to the edge on some level, I should say. So that could definitely be better. They could definitely have made that more defined. Definitely put a plunge that just stopped more obviously here and had everything, no more taper at all. But I mean, you've got a huge sharpening choil or end finger choil, so if you just want to move the edge a little bit further forward after you sharpen it once or twice, because you notice there is a little bit of drop down for smile, it's not going to be the hardest thing in the world to do. The finger choil itself is quite comfortable. They've given this a nice bit of rounding, and they've softened the edges on the outside of the handle pretty darn well. So Honestly, yeah, comfort is perfectly fine. The blade is, as I said, it's definitely harder use, but it's purposefully designed. Got a nice swedge up here and everything. It looks pretty good, honestly. Moving into the handle, titanium, thick titanium slats, big titanium frame lock. It is on bearings. It is very, very smooth, which is quite nice, honestly. Actually, it feels like it's gotten a little dry in there in my pocket, I guess. Stop pin. Pardon me, I'm losing my voice today. Stop pin is attached to the blade. Garage. My words are failing me today. I very much apologize for this, but, well, let's see if we can get through that, shall we? Stop pin is attached to the blade. It is not anywhere near the edge, so yeah, you're perfectly fine. This is exactly how a stop pin should be done when it can be done this way, and I mean, it's good design. I also like how the tang and everything just follows this sort of curve shape in the open position. It just, I don't know why, that roundness always pleases me for some reason. I don't know. I already mentioned the rock pattern on the handle. They've sort of done it partial and keeping it where it basically... Actually, this is something I like. They've only done it part of the way, which is, of course, a smart idea for the clip, right? You don't want it necessarily under the clip as much because it could be a little bit weird, get the clip acting funky. So they left it bare on the opposite side, which allows the overall, and then they, of course, didn't rock pattern the lock bar. It allows the design kind of philosophy to carry through really well, which this is the thing I like. I think I've said it before. I know I said it before. I don't like when the design elements are only on one side as much, or really at all. I don't have pretty much any knives with the exception of, oh, it's right here. The Jericho, and they carried the Timascus Scover in the pivot collar, so I wasn't too objected about that one, but other than that, I don't really have any knives that don't have the carryover throughout, because I like to see the design element be around, and they knew they had a cut dog. They knew they had to leave some of this bare, so they kind of did it on the other side, and so it matches. It's just a nice attention to detail kind of thing. There are also speed holes on this, which... What is he barking at? Hey, dog. Shush. Don't argue with me. He does that a lot. He's a very argumentative dog. They did speed holes, and they polished it, but they also left it textured, which is something I didn't actually know before getting the knife, and it's a nice touch. It's a nice looking way to do the speed holes. It's kind of cool. Slightly bronzed hardware. Pretty close to matching, too. I mean, of course, the polish is going to change a little bit, but they're pretty closely colored, which is always nice to see. Titanium backspacer. Big old pocket clip, and this is something that I was worried about on this knife because it rides the spine, and it's very noticeable and huge. As you can see, there is a little bit of a mark on mine that came on there, but I mean, the entire thing has been, you can kind of see marks all over because it's been stonewashed over the ano, so that's kind of a thing. It just happens to be a big one on the clip. Back to the clip itself, I was worried about this clip. The clip doesn't look like it would work. It looks like it follows the spine too much. It does, though. It works just fine. It's actually quite comfortable. Yeah, I mean, you're going to feel the clip. It's a big clip, right? It's a big clip, but it's also a tall knife, and that helps to counteract it quite a bit, and it doesn't actually get uncomfortable on the spine at all. It's very comfortable in the hand. In fact, I would say that leaving it tall and thicker down here is probably a good idea because it just feels sort of homogeneous. with like this just feels like the handle. It doesn't feel like you're up on the clip or anything like that. It's very well designed. It's very well thought out and very well executed. This is a much, much more comfortable knife than I was thinking it might be. And the clip itself, it has a little bit of a flat there, but it's got a lot of nice springy flex to it and good retention. It works pretty darn well. I mean, I suppose whenever you have these flats at the very end with an angle there, if you have super thick stuff, it could have an issue, but there's a decent amount of room under there, and honestly, yeah, the clip is actually pretty darn solid here. I was concerned. I'm not anymore. It goes in and out of the pocket just fine. I haven't used it on the super thick jeans, but for the most part, it's fine. It's also surprisingly, you know what? Let's close this before I cut my hand off, or something. It's also surprisingly deep carry. That's all that sticks out of this knife, which is quite nice, honestly. And the speed holes allow you to get a pretty, as well as the large flat on the clip, allow you to get a pretty good grip on it to pull it out. I'm quite pleased with the way that's all been executed, honestly. I'm also very pleased with the amount of lock bar access. The lock bar access is massive, easy, and yeah, it's not a problem whatsoever. The lock bar feels very solid. It feels like it's like a vault lockup. It feels as robust as it looks, which is good. It is mostly centered. It is a tiny bit off to the front. I think that's partially the grind on this one is a little bit more, like the blade itself looks to be pretty much centered, but it goes in a little bit further on this side, so the point's a little tiny bit off, which is not really a big deal. Overall, this is a solid knife if you want something a little bit bigger and more robust. It still cuts surprisingly well, I will say. I do wish Kansept, their edges aren't bad, they just don't have a lot of bite to them, I've noticed. I kind of wish they would maybe work on the edge a little bit, but for what's actually here, I mean, it still cuts. There's no doubt about that. It'll go through material. Overall, it's pretty darn solid, and I do like it. I will say it is this particular version. There are some variants between versions, of course. This particular version comes in at $238. And part of me looks at it and says, oh, I kind of wish that was a little closer to 200 or 220. But then at the same time, I look at it and I'm like, but you got polished speed holes with texturing in them, rock patterning. You're getting a lot more than just a titanium frame lock with 20 CV on there. So I kind of understand it, especially with the mass for this thing. I think it's probably, even if it does seem a little high for just if you just look at what it is in the sense titanium frame lock with 20 CV, you can definitely get that for cheaper. But it does feel, and the quality here does feel like they've got it pretty appropriately priced. I will give them, if taking everything into consideration, I think it's about right. So yeah, if this has interested you, it's not something that you're probably going to be too upset about checking out. Overall, it's decent. Oh, and one last final thing. They did, you can actually kind of see a little bit, knock down the edge of the lock bar cutout. It's a little bit sharp still, but it is knocked down. It's something that I always like to see done. And yeah, it's pretty comfortable. It's not like it's going to bother you. So, overall, this is a win. And, I mean, I will admit, whenever you see 20 CV, it's probably a bit under where it should be in HRC. Sad, But nobody seems to want to change it, or nobody seems capable of changing it. I don't know why. A few companies have started bumping up their 20CV. Honestly, if you can't hit it, just use S35 or S30 or S30, S45 or S90. Like there are other options that are just as good. In fact, I kind of like S90 more because it doesn't require quite as high of a heat treat to get some good performance out of. Yeah. I wouldn't mind seeing a blade steel change, but I mean, it is still premium super steel, so. The Caveman is overall a win for Kansept in my book. So I'm winning things here. Thank you very, very much for watching. I stumbled through this one horribly. I don't know. I gotta work on that, but thank you for watching. I'll hopefully see you in another one. Have a great day. And I'm done.